We have to do something, whispered Luna. She hated seeing the forest creatures so frightened. But what could a cat and a fox do against a whole pack of wolves? Finnegan paced back and forth, his bushy tail swishing nervously. There has to be a way, he muttered. He couldn't bear to see his friend scared. Then he remembered the badger family that lived deep in the Whispering Woods. Badgers are small but fierce, and there was an entrance to an underground labyrinth near their home. If he could lead the animals through, the wolves would unfollow because even a hungry wolf would go after prey into such a maze. But getting the timid forest animals to go along would be hard. We need something big, something to make all the animals listen, Finnegan said thoughtfully. Luna sat on a log watching the rabbits dart about. How about a very convincing rabbit pie? She suggested. Suddenly, Finnegan's ears perked up. That was perfect. He just hoped they could pull off such an audacious plan. A clever trick to make the most convincing rabbit pie in the world. Finnegan and Luna needed help. Luckily, the wily duo had lots of friends. Hooting out loud, Finnegan signaled to all the woodland creatures to meet him and Luna at the clearing. Soon, a crowd of bushy tails and beady eyes surrounded the couple. Friends, began Finnegan, and he told them about the badger set and his plan. When he finished, a deer spoke up. But how can we get the rabbits to go into the badger set without knowing what's inside? A rabbit hopped forward. I'll go, he said bravely. If I don't come back alive, take me out of the oven. If I do, well, dig in. Everyone cheered for the brave rabbit, and soon it was time for action. As planned, the rabbit led the wolves away from the valley, deeper into the woods. From a safe distance, Luna and Finnegan watched the wolves disappear behind a clump of trees. Now let's hope that works, whispered Luna. But Finnegan wasn't worried. His plan was foolproof. Even if the rabbit didn't come back, they still had the wolves distracted long enough to get the other animals into the badger set. He raced toward the clearing, calling for everyone to move. Now, following his lead, the animals scampered toward the Whispering Woods, Luna close behind. Just before they reached the mouth of the tunnels, Finnegan turned to face the forest. If the wolves came back early, they needed a diversion. So he yelled loudly, hoping to startle any Of course, there was no one there. But when Finnegan looked back, he saw something that made his jaw drop. Instead of running into the badger's den, the animals were standing in a tight circle, staring straight ahead. Whatever stood before them must have been pretty impressive. As the last of the animals disappeared into the tunnel, Luna nudged Finnegan. Go, see what's left of your genius plan, she whispered, trying not to laugh. There in the middle of the path, sprawled across the ground, was a bush. A bush with leaves. It was fall! All those weeks ago when Luna and Finnegan chased fireflies near the stream, they must have brushed against this bush and not noticed it then. But today, the wind had shifted, turning the bush into a wall of leaves. Relief flooded through Finnegan. If the animals had kept following him blindly, they could have walked right into the waiting jaws of the wolves. This close call made him realize how much he relied on Luna's level head. He might be clever, but sometimes his cleverness got him and others into trouble. A new kind of courage days turned into weeks. The forest fell silent as winter approached, and the threat of the wolves receded into memory. But life was quieter, without the hustle and bustle of the other animals. One evening, Finnegan and Luna were curled up in their usual spot by the stream. When the rabbit trotted up to them, "Are you two here alone?" he asked anxiously. "What happened?" Finnegan opened an eye. "Why are you bothering us?" "Sorry, no reason," the rabbit stammered. "It's just that there are rumors in town. You know, people talk about a sly fox and a sneaky cat working together. Some say you used us animals to catch wolves, and some say you did it to take over the forest." Finnegan snorted. "Us? Take over the forest? Why would we do that?" "Well, that's what people say," the rabbit replied, fidgeting. "So, is it true?" Before either of them could answer, a voice boomed from above. "That's Rich! Real Rich!" Turning, they saw the wise old owl perched on a branch above them. "Rich!" repeated the rabbit, confused. "That is Rich!" The owl chuckled. "To think that any of us could ever turn on each other. That is Rich." The rabbit looked bewildered. Then it hit him. He understood why the owl said that. It was because he The rabbit was only thinking about himself. He didn't care about the safety of the other animals or what happened to them. All he cared about was staying alive. Shame filled him, and he hung his head. "Don't worry, Rabbit," Luna said kindly. "You're not the only one who's ever been scared. We've all made mistakes. What matters is what we do next." The rabbit looked up, surprised by her gentle words. "What do you mean?" he asked. "What do you do next?" Taking a deep breath, the owl continued. "You don't let fear or whispers drive you apart. You face it together. After all, we're stronger together than we are alone." The rabbit thought about that. He realized the owl was right. Back in the clearing, he confronted the badger. Together, they had convinced the other animals to return to the clearing instead of hiding in their burrows. And because of their combined efforts, the forest was safer. Now, the whispers in town weren't so bad. As long as they stayed together, new whispers on the wind. As spring arrived, the forest buzzed with life. The animals emerged from their homes, happy to feel the warm sun on their fur and the soft earth beneath their paws. The memory of the wolves faded, replaced by new growth and new beginnings. But one evening, as Finnegan and Luna walked through the blossoming woods, they heard a different kind of whisper. It wasn't the rustle of leaves or the chirp of crickets. It was a whisper carried on the wind. People, for the first time since the winter snows melted, the forest echoed with the laughter of children and the chatter of adults. Their voices grew louder and closer every day. One afternoon, while napping in a patch of sunshine, Finnegan woke to the sound of hammering. Looking around, he and Luna found a group of humans building something near the stream. And then he saw it. A crudely built dam blocked the flow of water. The fish were trapped, flopping helplessly on the dry ground. In the distance, a house loomed, cutting off the last bit of peaceful forest that remained. With a heavy heart, Finnegan knew what he had to do. Running to the other animals, he told them what he'd seen. "They're destroying our home!" he cried. The animals panicked. What could they do to stop the humans? Then Luna stepped forward. Her eyes shone with determination. "We won't fight them with strength or tricks," she declared, "but with smarts. They're clever, yes, but we are, too." And clever they were. That night, the animals went into town. While the humans slept, the deer quietly pulled up the plants around the foundation of the new house. The rabbits dug holes around the roots of the vegetables growing outside the farmhouse. The owls hooted loudly just outside the bedroom windows, and the cats knocked things over in the kitchen. By morning, the humans were exhausted. They couldn't figure out what was happening. Giving up, they packed their things and left. The forest was safe, for now, but as Finnegan and Luna walked through the silent woods, they knew the humans would return. They had to find a way to keep them away forever. But how? They were about to find out.